Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rogue Wave podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it. We talk comics, movies, TV, and pop culture every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Facebook.com/WeAreRogueMatter, YouTube.com/RogueMatter, Twitch.tv/WeAreRogueMatter, and Twitter.com/Rogue_Matter. We take this amazing live stream and turn it into the greatest podcast known to man, available on all major podcasting apps, including iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. I am your host, Michael Dolce, as always, joined by my cohort in crime, Mr. Hassan Godwin himself, the Lord of the Radio. You like that? Yeah. I like throwing some curveballs at your way.
Of course. Yes. That's the wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for the curveball.
We've got a great show tonight. We are going to be talking about the most anticipated TV shows, superhero / Star Wars related TV shows coming up in 2023. We've got a couple of other things to go through. But first, go to roguematter.com. Check out all the awesomeness that's up there. We got a website tweak coming, so some updated graphics coming, some updated features coming, and it's all going to be here on February 16th. It's going to be pretty exciting. That is the date to watch. Some major changes to the Rogue Matter site, and where we really start digging in and building this amazing community. So check out roguematter.com right now, where everything is free to read right now. So you better consume it now before it's too late. All right. It's 2023. And I got to tell you, the only thing we had to talk about really was the TV show stuff that we were going to look forward to, right? But then I'm seeing all these messages, and it turns out the Golden Globes was yesterday. Who knew? I know that the Golden Globes has kind of faced a little bit of scrutiny over the DEI, which is a big component of it, whether or not diversity and inclusion was happening overseas. They had basically, I guess, a history of not being very diverse in terms of the reporters out there and who was voting on things. And so the Academy, or not the Academy, but the actors and whatnot, kind of took a stand against the Golden Globes and demanded change. And this is the first televised Golden Globes ceremony that's happened in a few years now. And I guess there were some big winners. We got Quinta Brunson, Tyler James Williams, Ke Huy Quan, Colin Farrell, Jennifer Coolidge, Steven Spielberg, Michelle Yeoh, Julia Garner, Zendaya, Guillermo del Toro, Cate Blanchett, and Austin Butler were among individual winners. And I did leave one out specifically because I thought this was kind of apropos. Angela Bassett wins a Golden Globe for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. My immediate reaction, again, I'm seeing kind of like these little news items, felt like it was a big deal, and at the same time was the quietest big deal I've ever seen. Is that a fair summary of it? Just because I feel like the Golden Globes there was no like lead up to the Golden Globes happening. Usually there was no kind of excitement for it, but now I'm kind of excited that something from a comic book movie actually took home. It happens on occasions, but this one kind of caught my eye. What was your reaction
to Angela
the
Bassett's
news?
win?
Yeah,
that's pretty great. I mean, she was instrumental in that film. She was one of the standout kind of circumstances in that film. So yeah, I mean, it was well deserved. It's like the Oscars Junior, like the Golden Globes. Whatever controversy that came behind it, there was a lot of stuff. I saw a lot of buzz about the Ke Huy Quan, being there and thanking Steven Spielberg for his for stardom, basically his entry into this this universe of acting and Hollywood and whatever. And that was pretty cool. It's good to see him. And he was, it's good to see him in the monitor. I suspect he's in the latest Indiana Jones movie somewhere, although everybody denies it. But he's just up on everybody's radar all of a sudden, and so that's just You know, and he was on the set. Now, supposedly he was just visiting, but who knows? So
He looks exactly like what a child star, like when he grows up, would look like. Like I mean, I saw pictures and
he looks
stuff,
like
and I'm like,
it looks like he looks like you would hope a child star would grow up to look
well,
like an older version of himself.
Yeah, I know.
Some of them don't always.
Well, that's my point. Though you see some of these child stars, and you're like, whoa, like that doesn't look anything like that guy. No, he looks exactly like what I would picture him in 1986 to grow up and looking like. So he looks fantastic. He did a great job there.
Yeah, yes, well done, Key. You know,
you would think it's an easy order, but it's actually not. I mean, the list goes
growing
down.
up is pretty rough. It's
yeah,
it's a catastrophic. Every 7 years you're completely destroyed and become something completely new, on the cellular level. So, that's kind of hard to maintain.
Yeah. So there was a LinkedIn article. Did the Globes deliver on DEI? Hollywood loves a good comeback story, and questions have swirled around whether the Golden Globes could be redeemed from scandal. NBC aired the awards show Tuesday night, roughly 20 months after the network yanked it due to the LA Times investigation that uncovered ethical conflicts and a lack of diversity, including no Black members within the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, which puts on the Globes. This year's show faced a do-or-die moment, and barring a ratings spike, it was expected to almost certainly be NBC's final Globes telecast, according to Puck. So that's a big thing right now in terms of, because like you said, this is kind of Oscars light, or Oscars Junior. I don't know. Do any of these award ceremonies mean anything much anymore? I mean, the ratings have gone down precipitously from all of these award shows. With the birth of social media, do we really even need these award shows anymore? I mean, it used to be a kind of a big deal because you get to see celebrities, but now I should go on Instagram and see these guys, Yeah,
I mean, like there should be award shows. I mean, excellence should be awarded, or it should be, the competitive spirit for the sake of the profession should be maintained. And it does help the actors with their next job, to become, so we understand, like we were talking before about metrics of success, right? It's a metric of success for them, right?
Yeah.
Something that can be measured and something that can be publicly displayed, unlike wealth, which you can't always, which is kind of a taboo in our society, strangely enough, to go around flaunting your wealth to demonstrate exactly how successful you are. You have plaques and statues on your wall,
Yep.
So I think those are, whether they should be televised or not. I mean, should anything be televised? Like, everything is kind of down, because people have found, like, better ways to spend their time. So, I mean, I think, also, as you say, with the social media, you could just get the highlights off of. I think the ceremony should be there, whether or not they should be broadcast live. I mean, yeah, I guess if it's not getting them any ratings, then I guess it shouldn't. I can understand them not doing it anymore.
I saw the who's the guy from Eternals who got really, really buff? Pakistani actor. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Yeah, neither can I. I don't know who
he was. He was exactly. In Silicon Valley.
I never watched Silicon Valley.
Oh, you never watched Silicon? Oh, you got to watch Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is amazing.
I don't got to watch Silicon Valley.
All right, hang on. This is why we have computers here. I did this to myself, by the way. Know what I did? I woke up at 3:30 in the morning to go to the bathroom. Then when I came back, I started thinking about my day and like all the things I have to get done. Mm-hmm. Couldn't quite fall asleep. Kumail Nanjiani. There we go. See? There we go.
All right. Okay. Well done.
That's what our producer extraordinaire, Aaron, provides to us. And now, like, I ended up starting to fall asleep just as my alarm went off, like 2 hours later. So one of those, my brain is half full right now, no question about it. But anyway, so he was talking about his Hulu series, right? And he was talking about, because it takes place in the 80s, and I'm going to get a name of that show in a second here too. Oh, the Welcome to Chippendales, the story of the creators of the Chippendales empire in the 80s. And he talked about how in the 80s, you know, flaunting your success, that was what you did. And then the 90s came, and it was like the grunge era, and you had to dress down, and it was looked upon, if you flaunted your success, as being like faux pas. So he said that, you know, it's ironic, because now we're back into that grunge, like, don't flaunt your success, don't make a big spectacle. So it'll be interesting to see if the award show phenomenon rises with the next 10 years or so. If the pendulum swings back to, hey, it's okay to flaunt your success, it's okay to be, like your 80s, exhibitionist self, so it should be interesting to see. But right now, yeah. What's that?
You think you think the award shows are like a vanity project?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, Hollywood loves to pat themselves on the back, right? Like they love, like all the actors do. Because I mean, here, and look, being grunge, children, I wouldn't say children, but growing up in the grunge era, I mean, you had every single band was like, this award means nothing, and like if they won a Grammy, right? This award means nothing, and this, what is, how do you grade art, and how do you whatever, and so it is subjective, right? I mean, we talk about that all the time. Art is an extremely subjective thing. Like, what's the best, right? Like, how is this the best, right? How is this show the best over that show, or this movie, or this performance? Especially in years where there's multiple, right? There's multiple bests. I think back to '94, right? Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump came out. Both of them could have won Best Picture in my book. Easily, both of them could have. So how did Forrest Gump just be deemed better than Pulp Fiction? It was subjective, right? It had an academy of voters. They voted, and they tallied the votes, and that was it, right? I mean, it's but at the same time, you could ask 100 different people, and they might give you a different result, So it is definitely a vanity project. It's definitely something to kind of, like you said, put something on your wall somewhere. And look, I don't fault anybody for being proud of their accomplishments. If you're able to convince a body of people that what you did stood out amongst your peers, I mean, go for it. But I think also, as I kind of mentioned, the idea of an award show right now is almost, it's a quiet thing right now. It's a quiet thing. And I think that's why we barely even knew that the Golden Globes were happening.
All right. Sounds fair.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. All right. Let me ask you a question, though. Angela Bassett winning, do you think this is going to spell more success for her? Do you think this is going to give? I think. Would you say it's over under 50% she gets an Oscar nomination for this role?
Probably over.
I think definitely over 50%, right? I think she's definitely going to nail an Oscar nom for it. Doesn't mean she's going to win it, but it doesn't hurt,
probably
right?
Not, especially after she won the Golden Globe, because it's all like it's all this weird. I mean, but maybe it's a sweep. Could be a sweep. Who knows? It's weird that she comes up on the radar at all. It's like you never know who the pendulum's going to favor in these things.
Right.
So, this might be her year to win an Oscar. I don't know. Probably, but yeah, I'd say it's fair. It's a fair bet. The nomination's a fair bet.
Yeah, I think definitely you're going to get a nomination. But what's interesting is, because we've had this whole, art versus content debate, right? We've had this whole Quentin Tarantino maybe saying, he wishes movies could go back to being not just superhero movies, not just popcorn movies. Is it a function of she gave a really great performance, which I think she did, and I think Black Panther seems to be the one movie that kind of has Teflon skin when it comes to being criticized as just like a popcorn movie or a comic book film. Like, I think, the first one got an Oscar nomination, and that's for Best Picture, which that doesn't happen very often for a comic book film. So maybe it's helpful that she's in this franchise, but I'm wondering, is the guard kind of lowering? The more we see these type of performances in comic book films, and see these performances get recognized, are we going to see a trend of more comic book movie actors and actresses getting recognition for their work despite being in a comic book movie? Do you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if that's going to be the case now. Like the more and more these things kind of happen, the more it's going to normalize comic book movies as, capable of winning these things. What do you think?
No, I believe so. I mean, the more the more you normalize anything, the more normal it becomes, just for the sake of it. So, yeah, I hope so. But I mean, there's metrics, there's indicators that this genre is kind of winding down anyway. So there'll be something else to rise into its place. And then we'll be wondering if maybe it's going to be sci-fi movies from now on about, blue aliens in space, because that's the thing that made the most money, right? So
right.
By the next year, there's going to be 18 sci-fi movies of blue aliens. And then we'll be wondering, is it, can a Na'vi ever win an Academy Award? Who knows?
Yeah. I think that would be, I think that's going to be, something we got to look at. Avatar became the highest grossing movie of 2022, by the way. I think it's up to 1.7 billion
very
now.
Quickly. Yep. As predicted.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question though, and I think I asked this on last week's show, but I got to ask it again though. Look, I love and respect James Cameron's movies and him as a director. I appreciate Avatar 1 and Avatar 2. Yet, I don't feel, and this could just be my bubble, that Avatar has a vocal fan base or like a fanatic fan base out there. Again, people are seeing this movie. They're seeing it multiple times. I'm not disputing that. My point is though, I feel like the Avatar fan base is different than all other similar genre type fan bases, right? Like you have your DC fans, you have your Marvel fans. They're crazy. They go nuts for this stuff, right? They dress up as that. I feel like I go to Comic-Cons. I don't really see Avatar people as much. I don't see Na'vi people dressing up as Na'vi. I don't see
that's dressing up like that's a hell of a commitment. Not a lot of people are going to.
Have you seen some of this cosplay at conventions though? I mean, it's a hell of a commitment. Regardless.
Yeah, but
right?
I mean, painting yourself, walking around half naked and painting yourself blue. That's above and beyond.
A lot of mystiques. Oh, yeah. A lot of mystiques out there for sure. That do that. They do that. So my point is why not more Avatar people? Where are these people? $1.7 billion. That's a lot of people seeing movies. Who are these people? Where are they located? Is there a support group? Is there a Discord, forum somewhere?
Nothing's more successful than success, right? So a movie starts to make a lot of money. People come out to see the movie because it's making a lot of money and it starts to sell itself, right? It becomes a phenomenon in and of itself. Also, James Cameron is a brand that, that's the epitome of nothing sells success like success, He's successful. Yeah. People expect his stuff to be successful. So they go and, it's almost like a hysteria. They go and make sure that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I'm looking up right now. Where are James Cameron's Avatar fans from? There's an avatar.com community. I mean, seriously? Oh, okay, here we go. This is Rotten Tomatoes. Avatar was the biggest movie of all time. So where are its fans? And this came out in 2019, 10 years after James Cameron's sci-fi adventure premiered. We look at its cultural impact or lack thereof to figure out why it failed to inspire a cult fan base. See, I'm not alone on this. It's again, is James Cameron buying all these tickets?
You can look at it as maybe there is no social cultural impact, but I mean there's definitely an industry impact on it. Absolutely. After Avatar, the motion capture industry exploded, right?
Yep.
You got the Planet of the Apes movies. You got they started with Yoda and Gollum, with the Lord of the Rings movies and the Star Wars prequels and Jar Jar. That's kind of what sort of started it, but it came out of its infancy with Avatar. And so, it became a viable form of acting, a viable form of creativity because of that. So that's a huge cultural, that's a industry impact. So maybe that's its contribution. And I mean, yeah, you're right. It's that is an interesting phenomenon. But the other thing that's phenomenon is that apparently you don't need a fan base to be the number one movie of all time. So I mean, maybe the hysteria we put behind the potency of a fan base is misplaced also. And that bears examination also.
That's a good point too, because I'm reading this article, by the way, on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a great article because it says it even points to what you were just saying.
You're reading it while I'm talking to you.
Well, I'm listening in, and I'm like, they have like a bunch of bullet points to their thesis, so to speak. But they said, mind you, we're not talking about Avatar's industry impact here, which is what you were saying. As a delivery system for the next evolution in 3D, it was truly groundbreaking, and sparked an obsession with 3D movies that still hasn't abated. So,
well, I mean, where's the fan base for Aliens? Like, there's where's the fan base for The Thing? There are phenomenal cultural touchstones that that you can tell have a fan base. People don't necessarily have to dress up like Kurt Russell for you to for you to believe that there are fans of these things. They don't dress up like Vin Diesel.
No, I know, but that's I guess the whole point, right? Like,
no, I don't know what the whole point. You just said, like, where is the fan
base?
Well,
no. Because so for example, for Fast and Furious, right? Like what you just brought up, though, that's more of a mainstream type of film, right? Like Avatar would appear to be, right, more of a cult genre type
it's
of.
It's not a cult. It's the number. How could it be a cult if it's the number one movie financially of all time? That's very much the antithesis of a cult. That's bona fides right there. So, I mean, it's not.
Well, let me tell you, I mean, it says here, sci-fi fans don't need a ton of fodder to latch onto a property. Joss Whedon's Firefly didn't even air a full season, and fans rallied around it so passionately they willed a movie into existence. Star Trek was a ratings flop when it first aired, but planted enough fan seeds, it eventually went from cult series to movie franchise. Akira was a single standalone anime film from 1988, and you still see its iconic poster, repurposed for everything from Batman to Seinfeld. Blade Runner was a bomb, but still got comic book spin-offs and unofficial merch. When was the last time you saw someone wearing an Avatar shirt? A quick Google search for Avatar fan films brings up a lot of results for Avatar: The Last Airbender anime series. I mean, it is, again, I'm not poo-pooing their success. I'm just saying I'm almost baffled by it. It's a very good movie. I really enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, there's obviously more metrics for fandom than T-shirts and cosplay. I mean, we're acting like it's the only way to tell that there's a viable community out there that appreciates something is if they dress up like the thing in the. No, that's not the only way.
So get this though, I just had this profound thought. Avatar represents the country. And these cult fan bases represent social media. They're the loudest people. They are the most vocal. They are the ones that get all the attention. But at the end of the day, when people actually vote on what they are going to watch, the results astound everyone.
Well, I mean, the phenomenon of using things to measure, using an unproven a source of measurement to measure something, that's equally nebulous and out of reach is probably, it's probably a mistake. It's almost always going to be a mistake. Now, sometimes the stars align and it happens to line up with everything that you predicted it would. I mean, even I didn't predict that Avatar was going to be the second Avatar movie was going to be a smash hit. I just knew it was going to do well. I just knew that people were going to go see it out of pure curiosity, if not, rabid fanaticism. But, did I think it was going to be the biggest movie of the year? Well, maybe I did. I don't know. I knew it was going to beat Top Gun. I kind of knew that, that was going to do that.
You know what? I was shocked that Top Gun did as well as it did. I enjoyed the hell out of it. So once I saw it, I wasn't surprised by it. But I'm not going to say I doubted James Cameron. I knew it was going to make a lot of money. I didn't think it was going to skyrocket to again, the amounts of money that it has now made quietly.
Yeah,
it has quietly done that.
I didn't. Well, yeah, but that's the thing. Not everything is loud. That's the problem with everybody. It's like, it's not. I haven't heard anything about it. It's like, well, look, there are ways to tell that things are happening that are not social media and they're not Twitter, And just because you didn't know they weren't happening doesn't mean they weren't happening, and that it's it's sort of a big deal. This kind of contradicts your position on the Golden Globes.
Maybe it does. I don't know.
Just because you didn't know it was happening doesn't mean that it wasn't slowly creeping along and making $1 billion. But I mean, look, the industry is going through some stuff right now. I remember like all the punditry was talking about the Jurassic World. That whole franchise is dead and that nobody cares. And the Jurassic World made $1 billion. And then I think it's the only the third movie to make $1 billion this year. There's one of 3 movies to make $1 billion this year. And now they're talking about like, is Sam Neill and the rest of them going to be in Jurassic World, part 4 or, whatever. Now they're talking about more sequels. Moments ago, they were talking about the series needs to end. The franchise is over. So people don't really know what's going on, right? The bottom line is the people, they keep their own counsel on what they're interested in seeing, why they're going to see something and whatever. And there's no way to predict that stuff. Just give them something worthwhile to watch, give them something, exciting and that's kind of like lighthearted and rompy, and I guess they'll go see it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, that's what I'm saying. It's almost the great reveal as to what people are actually into when all is done. All right, what do you guys think? Chime in. Did you enjoy the Golden Globes? Did you even watch? Did you even know they were happening? Talk about Avatar crossing the 1.7. Does it actually have a fan base, or is James Cameron actually buying all those tickets himself? Put your comments in the ticketing. Put your comments in the comment field, and we will respond when we come back. The TV shows in the superhero / Star Wars genre we are looking forward to in 2023 when we return. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast, frequency for all things pop culture. Some cool stuff. Again, go check out roguematter.com. Everything up there is free, which is awesome. But there's also a whole bunch of stuff coming. So just subscribe to the newsletter. There's a little email newsletter that goes around, and it'll keep you up to date on all the to-dos that are happening. Again, big stuff coming up 1 month from now. All right. We covered all the movies that were coming out in 2023 that kind of fall in our wheelhouse. Now we will cover some TV release dates for Marvel, DC, Netflix, Amazon, and other superhero shows. This is an article on the popverse.com by friend of the show, Chris Arendt. We have to have him on, actually. We haven't had him on in a long time. He was always a solid guest. He would give us some inside scoop as to what was going on. And we should definitely, maybe we'll have him on for our debut show. What do you think about that, Hassan? Our season 3 debut show in February.
That's a great idea. Let's do it.
There you go. Right?
I got the endorsement. It's already done. It's happening.
It's working in it's in the
working already.
It's in the works. And then he can shine some light on Rogue Matter to the world. It'd be great. See?
Yes.
It works
which
two ways.
We require.
Yeah. So a show that's coming out, and that's actually ending, is The Flash. It's on the CW. I think it's kind of interesting too because that comes out February 8th. It's season 9. It's the last season of the Flash run. However, it is going to feature, I don't know if you saw this, Stephen Amell is going to return as Green Arrow for the Flash season 9.
Yeah, this is it's the last hurrah for the Arrowverse. So yeah, that's kind of how you would want to close everything out.
Yeah. And I think also, I mean, if you look at it too, it's not just the last hurrah. Now, Greg Berlanti signed a new development deal with them, so don't think he's going away. He's kind of the architect behind the Arrowverse, among other folks as well too. But with all the changes going on at
the end of with the end of Flash, that's effectively the end of the Arrowverse as we knew it.
Well, they have, what is it, the Legion of Superheroes, something like that? What's the one?
Heroes of Tomorrow.
Yeah,
I think that's over already.
Is it really? Yeah,
I think Flash. I think the Flash is the last.
Right. Well, Superman and Lois.
Yeah, but that's not part of the Arrowverse.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he's part of it. Superman and Lois is.
I've seen that story-wise, they're technically not part of the Arrowverse.
Oh, technically not. Okay. Even though they debuted in well, I guess they're an alternate universe one, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I mean, that Superman did debut on Supergirl, but
right.
And I haven't watched it. I don't know, but I know that it's not technically considered part of the Arrowverse. Not like Heroes of Tomorrow, The Flash,
sure,
Black Lightning, Supergirl, and Batwoman was. I think also Stargirl is not considered part of the Arrowverse. Stargirl.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it
kind of Stargirl.
At some point, I got to start watching these shows. I started watching Arrow, and supposedly it was very entertaining. I don't know. Did you watch? Were you an Arrowverse person?
I never watched Arrow.
Yeah, I
watched Flash, and I watched Supergirl, and I watched the Black Lightning, and I watched some of Heroes of Tomorrow, but I never got into Arrow. By the time I realized that Arrow was on and it was something that we should watch, it was already like season 2, and I'd missed so much. So I just started to pick up the new shows as they started.
What about Gotham Knights too? That's supposed to be like all the DC stuff is just kind of funny to me because there's so much uncertainty, surrounding all of this that, again, it's, do I want to invest in something that's not going to be there next year?
I see your point. I don't know. What do you mean it's not going to be here next year, though? What do you mean by that?
So we have Gotham Knights. The synopsis is: Batman is dead, and a powder keg has ignited Gotham City without the Dark Knight to protect it. In the wake of Bruce Wayne's murder, his adopted son, Turner Hayes, is framed for his killing. With the charismatic and hard-charging District Attorney Harvey Dent and the GCPD hot on his trail, Turner must rely on allies, including his best friend and formidable coder, Stephanie Brown. Spoiler. Literally, that's who she is. And unlikely Batman sidekick, Carrie Kelly. Oh, look at that. That's the Robin from
the Dark Knight.
Yeah. Or the Dark Knight, sorry. Dark Knight. Yeah, Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, Dark Knight.
However, they soon learn there is a larger, more nefarious force at work within Gotham City. This team of mismatched fugitives must band together to become its next generation of saviors, known as the Gotham Knights. Sounds really super cool. Don't know if it's going to be around next year. Don't know what's going to happen with anything that's going on at DC.
So you're not going to watch it because you don't know if it's going to be around?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a DC guy too, but that does sound interesting. DC is just funny though because they put, on TV, DC TV stuff. They put on so much stuff that is it lives in the multiverse. It lives in these alternate realities. So kind of in the one end, that's great because you can kind of do cool things like kill Bruce Wayne, right? Like you can't kill Bruce Wayne in the, definitive universe. But you can if it's an alternate universe. However, on the flip side of things, again, you kind of sit there and you say, well, is it? It's it's kind of like the what ifs, right? Like, well, I mean, I want the definitive like story universe. Like, I don't want like a side universe necessarily. I want to know, like, I mean, that was kind of the fun of reading comics for me, right? Like Batman or Superman or Spider-Man or whatever comic I was reading. I was reading like there might have been like 3 or 4 Spider-Man titles, right? But they all kind of like coexisted together. They weren't like alternate universe stories. So it was still, you're still like, invested in the main Spider-Man storyline or the main Superman storyline or the main, like, Batman storyline. Like when something major happened, it would happen across all 4 books or all across 3 books, but you were following like this one trail that you could follow all the way back to, its inception. So you could follow the Spider-Man story back to 1962. And it was just the continuation of that story. When you do like alternate reality stuff, it's detached from that in my mind. And it loses its luster. Do you have that same problem, or you don't care?
No. I mean, if the story is good, I don't care. In fact, it gets more exciting because the main franchise can only bend but so far before it breaks itself. So when you watch an alternate storyline, you can pretty much take it to the nth degree and not destroy canon, so people can feel that they're more free. They can do more with it.
Yeah.
So sometimes I prefer those stories.
Yeah, I think as a little kind of antidote to the main stuff, it's good. Like kind of an ancillary, kind of like a treat, right? Like it's a little treat. But I don't know. DC's
All
got
right,
to
don't
get
watch it then. You're
DC's got
gonna
to
you'll
get their
be all
house
right.
of cards together.
I guess we're not going to be
figure out
talking about that all too much.
What's that?
Once it comes on Gotham Knights, since you've already condemned it before it actually happened.
I've poo-pooed it.
Yeah,
I poo-pooed it.
Yeah,
We've talked a lot of DC so far. Marvel has a lot coming out in 2023. Marvel had more coming out in 2023 than I realized. You have Loki season 2, which I'm excited about. I enjoyed Loki season 1, so I'm kind of cool. I'm very curious to see them continue, the storyline, see where it goes with that. Echo is going to get its own show. She's going to get her own show. She kind of spun out of the Hawkeye show. Echo's not a major character in the comic book universe. I mean, she has moments in the Daredevil verse. So it'll be interesting to see if it'd be interesting to see if the ratings kind of become, kind of similar to like what Miss Marvel ratings were, and if they have something up their sleeve for Echo to kind of draw out I want to call it the casual fan more than, Echo would be more of the niche fan, I feel like, Secret Invasion, though, you got Sam Jackson, you got Emilia Clarke. That's the one that's the one like Marvel show where I'm like, all right, I gotta see where this. That one's probably the one I'm looking forward to, even more so than Loki. And then finally, there's Ironheart and Agatha, Coven of Chaos. Ironheart got a big solid being in that Black Panther movie. Real big brand recognition. I didn't care when they announced an Ironheart series. Now seeing her in Black Panther 2, I'm like, all right, I'm very curious to see, that show. Out of the ones I mentioned, which ones stand out to you?
I don't know. Probably Loki. Just to see how they take it to the next level. I wasn't completely bowled over by Loki, but I did enjoy it. And I did like that last. I mean, a lot of people hated that last episode. They liked that whole show all the way up to the last episode. That last episode is actually what solidified the whole show for me. So it was ironic.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I'm looking forward to Echo, but I mean, Echo is just going to be part of the entire, Daredevil universe that they're sparking up, and Daredevil's going to get something like 20 episodes next year. So I mean, I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to actually seeing television shows with more than 8 episodes of of hype.
Are you ready for this? Daredevil is probably the biggest gift to both of us. You get 18 to 20 episodes. I get half-hour episodes. Very excited about that. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, that's another thing. I don't understand why there's always this kind of compromise on this material. And I think they're starting to pay for it. I mean, like I'm really glad. I hate to say this. I hate to sound like a jerk, but I'm really glad that Westworld got canceled because it just went off the rails, and then
Oh
and
God, yeah.
they're making a big deal about the fact that it went off the rails. It wasn't good anymore. You took too long to give us to give us material that wasn't really that great. And I don't know if it's their fault or not. I don't know if it's the showrunner's fault or if it's the network's fault because for the schedule that they got. But bottom line, you know, content. You could say all you want about the writing and the all that other political mishmash that goes into the stuff. The bottom line is a lot of these shows just they're basically half-ass material.
Yeah.
They're all these tentative toes in the water. We'll see if this sparks anything. But then which is fine. Like they did that with Mandalorian. And he got a bunch of half-hour episodes and stuff, and that was fine. It's like we don't know if the audience is gonna be there week after week for Star Wars. For a brand new Star Wars character who you never see his face, we have no idea if that's gonna work. But then, okay, look, after season 1 was a phenomenon for them,
yeah,
it's been 3 years and there's no season 2. We have to wait till the middle of this year to get season 2. I mean season 3, and it's still like a half hour, like 8 episodes of a half hour. Like, commit to it fully, make the show, right?
Yeah.
That's the same with Loki. It's kind of the same with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's like these like special events. They're not shows that you want to invest in. There's these special events that are going to come and then go away forever. And then that's going to be it. That's going to, I don't understand that. Either you're going to be in the television business or you're not. So, like, the idea, like, okay, good.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it's tough because I think a lot of these shows, based off of popular movies, don't know how to be TV shows. I think it's tough when you see Hawkeye on the big screen doing awesome things, in Avengers movies, saving the world. Like, how do you almost translate that same energy, into the small screen?
No, I get it. I totally get it. But I mean, to almost not do it is not the way to do it.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, if you're going to do the transition and put people on the big screen on the small screen, then don't half do it. You gotta do it all the way,
Yeah.
And that's why that's some of the stuff that I look at and don't understand. It's like the last season of Game of Thrones. Like, I understand why it's a short season, fine. I don't know whose fault that is, if that's the showrunners or whatever, but there are some narrative mistakes that you're making that are like rookie mistakes that me on my sofa can tell, like, that is a narrative hiccup. That's not gonna, that's gonna cost you a couple of episodes down the line. That's what I don't understand about some of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like there's
coffee cups on stage didn't help either.
No, I mean, like, that kind of stuff. That's production stuff. I get it. Just like a Mandalorian where there's a guy, in the corner. You can see the guy, the guy with the boom mic or whatever. Fine. That stuff's fine. I don't mind about that. But I just don't understand, like, if you're gonna do it, it's almost like they don't want to do it. It's almost like they're being forced to make television shows, and so they're gonna do it at the bare minimum of their ability, so that they won't be forced to make any more television shows. I don't understand it. They don't look at it as a viable source of revenue, for their product, and it just doesn't make any sense to me.
No, I hear you on that. This next show actually has me raring to go, and it shouldn't, but then I see pictures of it, and I'm like, yeah, all right. There are a ton of '90s kids out there, okay, who loved the X-Men animated series. I thoroughly enjoyed the X-Men animated series, but I was a bit of a snob because it didn't follow the comics exactly. So part of me was almost kind of like throwing my nose up at it when I watched it, but I did enjoy it back in the day. But X-Men 97 is coming back. And again, just seeing all the old outfits, the old costumes, I mean, that is wheelhouse X-Men. That is my X-Men right there. That's there. So I can't help but want to see some of these episodes. I have to almost I have to do the litmus test and show the old cartoon to my soon-to-be 7-year-old and see what he says. You know, like see if he gets bored, see if he's into it, because I don't know. I essentially, you're basically making this for, you know, people our age, essentially, right? I mean, at the end of the day, our age or slightly younger. Can it hold, you know?
I remember X-Men 97. I remember when it started, and I thought it was like, you know, it was a phenomenon. But the thing I remember most of it is like after a while, the art started to get really bad.
Not good. Not good.
Yeah, and I'm like, what's going on? Are these people drawing? Are they trying to make this show? Because I just don't understand why this stuff looks.
Well, that's when
bad.
they actually, you know, drew everything. I mean, there was, you know, there was
which
no
is fine, but I mean, some of that art was bad.
Yeah.
There's literally there is a episode where the Black Hawk literally did this when it was landing. It literally like they drew it like it was elastic, and I have no
it actually
idea
sticks out in my mind right now. I actually know exactly what you're talking about.
Like, and you look at that like they had to have done that on purpose. I don't know why they would do something like that. What are they trying to tell us? What are they trying to tell us? So, I mean, I'm hoping that we won't get so nostalgic that they're going to bring back the bad art along with the 97 storyline. But who knows? Maybe that's part of the charm. Maybe that's what the people will be looking for. That'll be one of the complaints about it after it's done too well. It looks too good. You know, and then you
get obsessed with all that. You get obsessed with the complaints by people have. I only get, you know what is funny?
Me?
I only get upset when something is hyped up to a level and then doesn't even come close to meeting the expectations. Then I actually do go online and I want to find out if I'm the only one that feels this way. And then I feel great joy and comfort when I'm shared by the loud voices on social media.
Everybody's got a quirk, man. Everybody's got a thing. Some people decide they're not going to watch something because they don't think it's going to be around. So why would they get into it without even bothering to watch it in the first place? I mean, everybody's got
my time is at a premium. At a premium.
Yeah, so is mine. We use it as we see fit.
Last one on the list that I think is kind of interesting. Gen V. So this is on Amazon Prime Video. So Amazon Prime, this is an amazing thing, right? The Boys is Amazon's bona fide hit. I think can we name, I guess Lord of the Rings is also technically a hit, right? In terms of viewership. I know it's got its controversies.
Yeah. It's according to the ratings. Yeah, it's a hit.
Yeah. But I would say The Boys is their Stranger Things kind of show, right? I think that's it. If there's an original Amazon show, maybe Jack Ryan, maybe.
I don't know about Jack Ryan because you look at Amazon by the way they're treating their shows. I think the entire season of Jack Ryan dropped at once, whereas the things that they think are trendy, they're going to do week to week. Yeah. And I think this is also the Jack Ryan season there's going to be. So I don't know how much of a hit it is. Yeah. I like it. I enjoyed the show. But I don't know if it's considered a hit. I have no idea. And that's hard, because the Nielsen ratings on these things come out like 3 to 4 weeks after they debut.
Yeah.
So we just won't know right now. But yes, that's why it took about 3 to 4 weeks for us to realize that Amazon's Lord of the Rings series was a hit. But we do have the metric of cultural phenomenon for The Boys. Like it became a pop culture sensation.
Right.
So obviously, yeah, I would say it's fair to compare them to the Stranger Things.
That's got to be its flagship title, I think.
Amazon, yeah.
Right now.
Sure.
Which is crazy.
Point,
it's crazy to think that in a way. That it's because it's very genre specific. It's very like if you're a fan of comic books, you will really dig this.
Well, it works if you're a fan of comic books, and it works if you despise comic books. It kind of covers all bases.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of an anti-comic book story.
Right.
But it does have enough comic tropes in it to keep the comic book people interested.
Yeah.
If you're here to see some guy fire lasers out of his eyes and, fry an entire crowd of people, or fly around and knock planes out of the sky or something like that, then it's still going to be there for you. The only
Yeah.
problem with The Boys is that it's based on a premise where it's a little too 90s. Like they have it was a story like The Boys work in the 90s where you could get 10 years out of hating Homelander.
Yeah.
And but I mean, in our modern world, it's like, okay, you gotta bring this to a head, or
Yeah.
you all start to look weak after a while. So now we're
Yeah.
going into season 4 of The Boys, and they're gonna have to do something. I think they're gonna have to up the ante somehow for the audience, because there was a little bit of pushback from the season finale for season 3.
Okay.
In the sense that it built up to this big crescendo, and then everything the events happen and everything turns status quo all over again, and people are like, oh, what the hell, so
Yeah.
we'll see how season 4. I'm looking forward to it. I don't think it's over by a long shot, but I think they do have to do something.
Well, Gen V now becomes its first spinoff. So now that becomes, and it's based off, we showed the comic book clip before. And I'm actually, it's funny because I'm in, again, if you read the comic book, and I have the Comixology Unlimited, so I'm reading the comic book. It's not an easy read. I gotta be honest with you. It's not, the show is actually much more engaging than the comic book is.
Oh, you mean like the story in itself is not compelling for you very much?
He really goes into the comic book, metaphors in great detail. And so again, if you're a super fan, or if you're a super fan of hating, like hating on comics,
his repudiation of comic book genre, right? So yeah. I read The Boys. I did read The Boys, and I remember not liking it very much because it was a pretty mean send up of the genre that I enjoy, but also I didn't like the art too tough, like it was asking a lot of both.
I like Derek Robertson, he's good, but I can see that.
The art is good. I think it was overly inked. Like, it's very heavy.
That's Derek Robertson.
Yeah. And
that's just what it is. That's a stylistic thing. And for some things that he would do, like he used to draw like Punisher. I'm like, that works, man. Like, that just works for Punisher. And this one, I agree with you. It's dark. It's like, it's got a dark brush stroke kind of feel to it. I agree.
It's just, along with the subject matter, it was just like, it was very stark. I think it works with the subject matter if you're into it, but it was a bit too much for me. So, it is what it is.
All right. What do you guys think? Which television show in 2023 are you looking forward to the most? Is there any Star Wars stuff coming out? Because I didn't see anything on that list.
I mean, Mando 3 is supposedly somewhere along the line in this year, and then of course,
it's not official. Yeah, that's the thing. It's not. Yeah, it's not official as to when.
And Bad Batch started, but it's animation, so I didn't bother.
Yeah, out the door.
Because you're prejudiced on that, even though it's.
There's a bunch of stuff. There's Armor Wars. There's Umbrella Academy, The Boys, season 4, Peacemaker.
I don't know if Umbrella Academy is coming this year. Is that this year?
No, that's the thing. There's no specific date, so it's in the far.
And the next one is the last one.
Yes, which is, I don't understand what Netflix is doing. I can't.
Maybe they want to stop. I don't know.
It's Netflix, dude. Netflix is just they are just canceling stuff left and right.
They got to keep that heavy rotation.
With that new show, 1899, boom, done. Warrior Nun, 2 seasons, done.
I mean, that's a sad thing about Netflix, because it used to be the alternative to cancellation, and now it's the premier cancellation vehicle. So it's kind of weird, but it is what it is.
All right, what are you guys looking forward to in 2023? Put it in the comments. We will respond to it as the show is going on, and we also respond to it during the week. So put it in there. We will respond back to you. Coming up next week, we got another 3 Pine Star coming on, which is fantastic because I love that show. Actually, I'm really excited to talk to 3 Pine Star Julian Bailey. He plays Peter Morrow, who had some key episodes. He had the one standalone 2-parter that was basically all about him and his family. So very excited to talk to him about that. Talk to him about the ending too, because is there going to be a season 2? I hope so. Because there was, it ended on
without spoilers.
It ended on a quasi cliffhanger.
I wouldn't call that quasi. I don't know what your definition of quasi is, because
Well,
when you do that, that's a definitive cliffhanger.
yeah, you know what? I could. Yes, there were things left kind of unsaid, but I could patch it in my head and say, oh, I guess that's what happened at the end. Oh, it's very Sopranos cliffhanger like. Let's put it that way.
I don't know what your definition of cliffhanger is then. Okay, fair enough.
All right, well, we'll talk more about it next week. We will see you guys next week. Hi guys, Mike Dolce here from the Rogue Wave podcast. If you like this video, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. It really helps us out. Leave a comment, let us know what you'd like to see in future episodes, and tune in every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern for a brand new episode